joined by Calum Knight to discuss Dior Men's Spring Summer 20, something we've both been very excited about. It's arguably one of the most exciting shows on the season, partly because of the grandeur, partly because it's Kim Jones. Yada yada yada, very exciting. There's already been some sneak peeks that Kim was collaborating with Daniel Arsham. Point in case, this lovely little pochette that we get given with our invite, which actually I've just noticed has a little certificate of authenticity, so that's really nice. So Daniel Arsham is an artist who kind of works in this degradation style, so it's kind of showing the breaking down and preservation of things. It looks a little bit like decoupage sometimes, but he did the entire Dior set. So a huge Dior running the entire runway in pink. Pink sand that goes to white is the floor for the runway, and then on that is a huge D, huge I, huge O, and a huge R, in typical Daniel stylings. And they have some kind of gems erupting from the rocks, and it's got a slight architectural tone to it. As you walk in as well, a kind of breaking down clock on the outside, which is really beautiful. What I was expecting from this collection, I don't know if it was exactly what I thought it would be, but I think it was kind of perfect for Kim Jones at Dior now. What I mean by that is there were real nods to Kim's first collection in the pastel tones, the pinks, the femininity, and the Dior logo shoes that he brought in for his first collection at the house. And there were also nods to his autumn-winter collection with the couturier references, the swathes of fabric, but here done in a much more wearable style. So it almost feels like the first show was a huge fanfare, kind of marking his territory, welcome to Dior, honouring the house codes, and then the second was kind of making his mark about what Kim's Dior is going to be, exploring couture elements, really channeling that Dior couture, because it's not every day that when you're designing menswear you have access to a couture house. And then this collection felt like a kind of merging osmosis of the two into what we can expect from Kim at Dior from now, if that makes any sense. So beautiful pastel suiting in that oblique style that Kim's introduced into Dior. Lots of pastel tones, as I said, the sways, silky shirts underneath, and then as the collection keeps going on, we're getting some monumental rucksacks, which are almost gargantuan versions of the sateen saddle pouches and fanny packs that were introduced last season, this time blown up into huge rucksacks and carry-alls. I would say that the accessories in this collection reminded me a lot of Kim at Louis Vuitton, and I think it felt a little bit like he was flexing his muscles with accessories, because there was freezer bags and suitcases that kind of harked of Rimowa, which makes sense because Kim's just done the Rimowa campaign. There was also, rather notably, the newspaper print that we associate and we know from Galliano's Dior. A lot of people, when they heard that there was going to be the Dior newspaper print, were a little bit eye-rolly. But actually, it makes perfect sense for Kim. He is obsessed with Galliano's Dior. He has huge respect for Galliano. And when you're going through the archives, and in the narrative that they're following him with this collection, it makes total sense to me to reference a newspaper print. The whole kind of story behind this collection is relics and trinkets and like those collected things you find on your travels, and how those tell their own story, and they keep the history, they keep memories, and how each collection is its own capturing of a moment, capturing of a story, I think that ties in. It's so Kim, that narrative. He has so many relics of his own. He's such an avid traveller. He has an amazing archive, and so to have a collection on this kind of archaeology almost of fashion and memories and memorabilia, I think is really amazing and poignant to him. Certainly they had lots of covering of the face and lots of kind of desert travellers, which we've also definitely seen at Kim for Louis Vuitton before. Felt very Kim travel luxury, and also some of the shoes with that Dior logo from the first collection were kind of transparent, and almost to kind of preserve that moment, which I really liked. Some other little relics, little Dior by Yoon, who does the jewellery, hanging from underneath. I thought it was a really strong collection. I feel like it maybe was slightly missing the kind of crazy fanfare from the previous two collections, but I don't necessarily know if you needed it. I think the clothes were really strong, the accessories were like bananas and amazing, and the colour palette was really brilliant. But I'm really pleased to see that oblique suit back. I'm glad that's now a staple of Dior. Cal, what did you think?
I think the last two designers he's collaborated with work in fanfare.
Yeah.
The last three designers he's collaborated with work in fanfare, whereas Daniel's work isn't really about that. It's about future relics, is what he calls a lot of his work. And I think it makes sense that, you know, you think when a year ago when we got this invite for his first collection, it was the bee, there was, you know, the cross eyes and so cartoonish, that actually he's lent his Dior just into a subtle pink, fading into nothing, and to have the confidence to do something less fanfare-y and give the artist a platform to present his work and not say, well, actually you do have to make this really amazing, this really Instagram grabby thing, and allowing Daniel to do his process, I think, is amazing.
Absolutely.
I was reading in the press release that Yoon made her jewellery, so Kim allowed her to do her bit, and then she sent them off to Daniel. She didn't go with them, and he sent them back to her. So he's allowing all of these people around him to do their thing under his platform,
which I
think is incredible.
The Dior family now. Yeah,
honestly, and it keeps expanding, but not forgetting its past. Also, they were Rimowas.
Were they?
They were Rimowas.
Amazing!
So, you know, even that, keeping it in the LVMH family, I just thought that was a really lovely story to that. And, you know, you obviously interviewed him not too long ago.
I did.
So about 20 days ago, would we say? Beginning of June?
That's ridiculously accurate, yeah, something like that.
And he was saying, oh, the collection's quite romantic. And actually, I didn't feel so much of the romance here, and that's because of all the different people. Because he was just saying, when he was talking about that, not everything had come back together. He hadn't styled it, he was working on the music, so the clothes he had seen as romantic. And in the 20 days since we last saw him, you know, all these different people have come in and created something that has totally changed what he viewed this collection to be. And I think that is a real testament to the way he works.
It felt a little, there definitely was like a romanticism in it. I mean, this really delicate soft pink is definitely an element of romance, but it felt a little cold to me. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but it's just quite an icy.
But Daniel's work is completely devoid of human touch.
Yeah, for sure.
So that makes sense to me as well.
I think it's also that what I associate with Daniel is the kind of, what I imagine is that in like a movie montage of this, he'd be like dusting off the dust and like pulled a saddlebag.
Yeah, very
from,
Jurassic Park.
Very Jurassic Park, like wonderful moment. But so there's like this pristine preservation to everything, which I think is where you get this like slight cold, frosty mood.
Yeah, and you mentioned his Louis Vuitton Traveller and that you felt that, and I think the difference between this and that was that his Louis Vuitton Traveller was travelling on the plains of Africa or to wherever he was going. This was a plane that we had never seen before. This person was travelling, but they were travelling in fantasy.
Like through history.
Yeah, you know, and I think that is the difference between, because he's still the same designer, but he gets to play within fantasy more. And because he has the atelier to do it, and he has all this stuff. I don't know, I just thought it was a real synthesis, and it wasn't as loud as the other ones, but not... He said in his interview...
That's certainly not a bad thing.
Yeah, he said in his interview last season for his autumn winter show, I designed my favourite collection I've ever done.
Yeah.
Not every collection can be his favourites, and not in the same way, not everyone can have this huge, giant robot disco lights, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But I think it's nice that he's like, you've had all that fun, now we're going to do something quieter, maybe another time you'll have something a bit louder. And
this to me was like, hey, now's the time to like pay attention to my Dior, like my clothes. This is now me. This is what you're going to be getting, basically.
For sure.
Rather than us trying to decipher, oh, is this Kim's Dior? Is this Kim's Dior?
Yeah.
This is now Kim's Dior.
Yeah, he's laid the groundwork and now he's...
Yeah, absolutely. Amazing soundtrack from Honey Dijon as well. I've got to put that out there. That was
incredible.
Really amazing. There's some Strauss at the beginning, which I think is from Clockwork. No, not Clockwork Orange. Space Odyssey, which kind of feeds into this fantasy traveller history. So anyway, we could digest this forever. I think it was a really brilliant show. I was really pleased to have made it. Traffic was awful. But yeah, congratulations Kim, congratulations Dior. Really brilliant show. Please do subscribe. There's lots more live reviews to come. You'll get a little notification when you subscribe, so make sure you do. And visit Show Studio. We have all the show footage, the close-up, social media coverage, everything, the whole shebang, all there. So see you soon.